we're at a live stream, and I'm just going to show you the skill tree I decided to use. Faithful Falls, max that out. Mortal Basalt, only 2 points. 2 points in this Sanguine Sacrament. Nothing in the Dark Path, but the armor increases that. So I'm still looking for armor for that. We got a Harvest. We maxed out Dark Hydra. Stain of the Soul. We got a point in Dread Covenant. We got maxed out Ascension. Lord of Edges. We Blast Gas. This is main skill one spec in, and it's max obviously, but the class mod isn't. Morheim's Blessing, so we can get kill skills from casting a spell. And of course the spell is the Buckmiser we're using. Is long cooldown, but that's what I'm using. And Ancestral Frost, because we're throwing the Frost Fairy-Ors. Icebreaker for the same reason. Always increases damage when you're close to an enemy. You don't want to go up to them though, because the Pixies won't attack it. So, unarmored defense, real nice for survivability. And we got the Blood Frenzy. We've maxed out Strength. We put points in the Constitution, and we got Entombment. We've maxed that out. The archetype is Plucky, +7 Entombment. That will be useful for the cooldown. This Brr-Reaver, I'm gonna use the Protagonizer on it, but I'll be switching the build for this one, but making this build for the other one I have, which is called Smasher. And this one's named Viking Darkness. So, anyway. See my current inventory. We got a Mage Staff with ASA elemental damage. We don't got any enchantment on this, but ideally we'd want the companion one that increases crit chance when we throw this thing. Spell damage rings. Mushroom increase the companion damage by 25%. That will be. I don't know if the Pixies actually increase companion damage, but whatever. And we're not using this one right now. I just use that for the loot walk when we complete the Chaos Chamber, so we can get better chance for legendaries. I'm gonna. This one is Frost Greyborn. All damage dealt. Ideally, I like one that's a Frenzied Wrath, but we do have one that is Dark Magic damage and Graveborn power. I'm probably gonna use that. Use the other one for bosses. And this is Dark Magic Buckmiser. Hopefully, I'll get one that has a Zap and Ka-Chow, and it's a trial damage version. Warp Paradigm is going to be real good because the Pixies from the Fair Knots will get. It's only a primordial, it's not a god roll, but still delay doesn't really matter though. Let's go in the streamer and let's kick some bad guy butt. I did have that reload speed for the Berserker, but I've changed that over because, in all actuality, it's not really that important because if you throw too many pixies at the same time, that's cause performance issues, and sometimes that results in the pixies not even hitting things when it should be. Especially when you get blast gas that will do that as well. Yeah, if this was a frost damage friendly draft, I'd just keep this thing at all times. I didn't even break a sweat, and it's Chaos 90. Not the maximum, but almost stay back. Normally, I do not like that one, but I'm going to choose it because I don't think the enemies are going to be even down me. They barely even down me in this build. Also, that might be a sign you're too close for the pixies to target. So, that's a decent indicator. You are not going to go down this building. Maybe in the standard run when enemies in the later stages are considerably higher level than you, but still. Switching my skill tree over means I recover health when I kill an enemy, and that will make the not the SHAREfactory. I forget the name of the thing. SHAREfactory, when you sacrifice health to create a shockwave that destroys enemies. Yeah, yes, that's the Reaper of Bones. Mostly what the Brr-Reaver is known for is dire sacrifice builds and selective amnesia build, but the reason why I'm not doing a selective amnesia build doesn't really work that well on PlayStation 4. But if you got a PS5 or a PC or whatever. Yeah, I totally cream that one. Yeah, I meant to break that quartz, but the counter was cleared already. These are items I don't want, but I'm just gonna pick up them up anyway. Also, another curse I don't like. I absolutely hate Nasty Spill, but Old Spool's not going to do enough damage to bother this build. Another reason why I hate Nasty Spill is because if it kills enemies, you're not going to get out of fight for your life, or what it's called in this game is save your soul. I'm gonna let that health go down because probably want to be so I can be full life when the stage changes over, and also because I want to eat the bones as soon as possible. Oh, it's this stage. Finish enemies in sacred ground. These guys love to push me out of the stupid sacred ground. So every time we get finished enemies while in sacred ground in these chaos trials, it's always these enemies of high knockback. And these tiny tubes and such are real aggressive. Also, the trolls, because of what they are, is trolls. Yeah, that is bun hogs. I'm not going to bother with that, because I want to get through these as fast as possible. Besides, I'd probably have a hard time showing that thing, because pixies don't target that at all, and we don't got enough gun damage to deal with the flashing light thing. Not really a flashing light, the thing that acts like a lighthouse. I'm going to destroy this quartz and I'm going to run. The reason why? I want to be in the sacred ground when I kill the thing. Move to this one because this one doesn't have the barrel near it. I hate it when the barrels are near these sacred grounds. You're usually standing on these things and you can set the barrel off, and thankfully this build can survive barrels. So that's also a problem, but usually these barrels will usually kill you. Especially when I've sacrificed the Reaper bones up, it's can't kill me that way. I'm not gonna bother the curse portal because, no honesty, up in Chaos 90, it's not really that useful. I usually, most time when I'm just picking the curse portals, it's just, usually it's when I'm in earlier chaos halls, because it really means a lot during then, but it's not a separate multiplier, and it adds to the chaos level modifier. The best it does is increase the chance of enemies dropping the rainbow crystals. And most time it doesn't drop that much to begin with. I might choose if it's going into the last stage anyway. This is the last stage, and this is a super annoying son of the witch. I'm gonna destroy this thing anyway, though. I should have changed the ammo over, though, because it was fighting a boss with a fancy graph isn't gonna help that much. Usually don't spawn that many mobs for it to be useful. It's not the frost damage, so lost out on damage there, but that's fine. This thing is absolutely destroyed. Yet ain't nobody in the world like that possessed bastard. We got Wizard Pipe this week for this Chaos Chamber vending machines. I've not even done those in a long, long time. Not really that much of a point. The black market vending machine for the Borderlands Street, that is useful because people want to know the location. The location of these things are always here. And we got a laser hand, which is awesome. Yeah, I can't stress how awesome this spell is. This is another one I like, is the full battering. Mostly during the earlier chaos levels where it's most useful. And I'm going to switch to my loot lock thing. Because of this, I don't have to deal with a stupid Brad Luck trying to kill me. Man, once I get 55 loot lock on these things, it's bye-bye Brad Luck. Simply, it's the worst game in general. It's useful for because it's guaranteed to spawn with a double loot lock. Now the second worst is a stupid laser glory. It's not worth the 30% extra fire damage just to save your soul time in half. It's not worth it. You can only get in the chaos chamber, which is not that bad, thing, but still, it's not freaking worth it. You can get that thing. Yeah, Bradlock always spawns with full elemental damage, not just one elemental damage type. I wish it was in what's that increased physical damage. That'd be real nice with the black powder weapons. Some of them are really, really good, like the purple, the crossbow suit coughs, and most suit coughs in general. It's the Wonderlands version of a masher. Yeah, whatever. Pretty much most of these I'm going to sell. Unless it's someone I really want. Sorry for going this, because typically I have that off during streams. Now, that's not what I want for a protagonizer, so if it's poison, blight collar, maybe, yeah. Definitely poison, blight collar, because what skill is that? That's that Geist in the Shell. It does ability damage, increases the ability chance and damage, and we know how powerful Geist in the Shell is. It doesn't mean the main thing for this build, though, but anyway. Well, anyway, yeah, I rather have status effect damage and status effect chance, so, yeah. I don't need that. Gun magazine size would be detrimental for this build anyway, because basically all it really does is that magazine size, it just increases the damage of the final explosion, doesn't increase the damage of overall pixies, doesn't make the pixies last longer, so we're not keeping it. Because the magazine size does not matter. Even when you empty the magazine, it's still going to fire, so that's why it doesn't matter. The TDR counterparts did matter because magazine size would affect the things that fire. If you fire the whole thing, they wouldn't even shoot anyway. And they don't even receive scaling from almost all sources. Only one is the elemental coefficient for the health types. That's it. And that's a shame because stuff like the Pat Mark III would be so powerful if that was the case. Oh, the Pat Mark III explosions affected by damage sources. And I can imagine how powerful the Mother 2 would have been. Mother 2, it's rather mediocre in terms of DLC 3 guns, and I don't really even use it. I'm just going to continue to sell that one. Here's a Blaze of Glory. Dark Magic Fishing doesn't really synergize well with it. But the Dark Magic and Fishing would be real useful for Overflow Blood Bag, though. I'm just going to sell most of these purples, because unless there's something that jumps out at me, I'm going to sell them. Not keeping that one. I could not believe I got a freaking barload that Dark Magic Spell Warning that had double damage dealt on it. Yeah, that's going to be real awesome with a Ruby Spite. And especially with the Vengeance that just recover its magazine occasionally. Means more stickies on the enemy. It's going to be awesome. Also, the crossbows targeting other enemies helps the Vengeance. Vengeance not really that known for the, it's really known for its bossing rather than mobbing. Unless you decide to reload the thing early for mobs, that's okay too. Kind of like the sword explosion that Purpose waves. Where the sword explosion might be waste a load of whole magazine on a mob. But the barber does not. It does not put the sticky bullets to other enemies. It's just the crossbolts. Chaos 91. I cannot. Don't forget the changing gear. Yeah, the loot lock go to the frenzy draft. So I remember to use the frost, the other one for boss fights. I didn't think this Pixie build would be more effective than other ones. It surprised me. And a lot of that's because of Berserker doesn't have increases the spell damage. Although it'd actually be nice to use a Berserker for the ice spikes and such. Just because of that crowd damage increase for the Berserker. You usually get the first one that's never elite, so and they are not choosing elemental overflow because we're relying on one element. It's not what you want. You don't want elemental overflow for that. Another reason it'd be nice to have the physical damage enchantments and stuff we don't have. Just because the physical damage, they cannot be immune to that. Watch your steps just increases the amount of traps. Yeah, big deal. Really. And it's an easy curse, which doesn't affect the things that much. You know I could put this in intense and still can destroy the things. Typically I put it lashes, so I want to go through these quicker. That is melee damage. Not going to take the time of checking that thing out. The melee damage is going to pop out at you because it's capital letters. Yeah, I forgot it was finished before time's running out. We're not using the fire version. No way. Even though it still destroy these things just the same. It's just gonna do less damage because we don't got fire damage enchantments or fire damage amulets. And when that blast F goes off, the problem here is going to be the frigid. These Varp ones are so freaking annoying. What they do is just, they give hardly any XP, therefore it doesn't barely makes any progress in this finish before time runs out, or the finish off counter in general, because they don't give much EXP, because it's depending on how much EXP they would give. I think that one was the Buttonhog Cliff again, but I'm not gonna bother with those because I'm gonna go through these as fast as possible. Buttonhogs usually letting fight for those secret bosses. And the main reason is because showing that puzzles super quick. Well, the other ones just take time, especially the one that I don't remember the name of that, but it's the Abyss version. You had a Notion version that's where you have to wait for that thing to chase you, and You have to lure it to a certain point, and that takes forever. Mushroom one doesn't take as long though. That one is barking. Oh yeah, the one I was talking about was Gloop at the Path. Now remember. There's no quartz crystal, so go straight for this Dragon Lord statue. Dragon Lord could have been a much better villain, but since the villain is basically a rejected character, it's not really that interesting for a villain. What is interesting is that timekeeper for Borderlands 4. Because it seems to me that could be a real legitimate villain like Handsome Jack was in BL2. Sounds way better than Tyrene and Troy, which they are just glorified online celebrities just because they are. Unfortunately, the Pixies do not target that. Neither do the Hydras or the Shrikes. For that matter. Yeah, that is completed so fast. So fast. Usually the problem is those barf ones because they spawn in high numbers when you kill those things. They prevent other enemies from spawning. Gets real annoying, slows things down. The only time I want to see those barf worms is the Sacred Ground ones. Because all piece of progress of that all the same. Doesn't matter the experience the enemies give. The clear encounter, it really matters. And this is the last stage, and who's the boss in this? Another one to get the Chaos 100 is Dragon Lord. I don't think it's this one. Okay, it's Trial. I don't like this one running the Pixie build because I want one for the Frost one. Energy's Wrath is good for mobbing. It is not frost damage, so you know the reason I didn't just use the Reaper Bones was I want to use the Reaper Bones to get in that damaging pool. Yeah, just like that. It's the only way I can reach him with the Pixies. That's why I love this build. Yeah, Yeah. Reaper's bones expired, but that's okay. That's the most. Otherwise, it's gonna waste more time. That's why I did it. Yeah, I won't have Reaper bones up. I will have the buff points up, which is real good. Normally, you do not want to be in that pool. That's why I waited for the bones to get up on the second phase of this fight. For the fire phase of this fight, he's close enough for the Pixies to target, so there's that. That's the end of this one. We're up to Chaos Chamber 92. $11 is draws, kind of slows things down for the boss. While the most other bosses they're down just almost instantly. If they add spell critical chance, I don't care about the status effect chance. Status effect for that would be too weak anyway. Yeah, 83 damage, not gonna cut it per second. Not even useful for whittling down the enemy's life bar either. Switch to the protagonizer for the luck bonus. Check out that. That's not the protagonizer, that is. I'm going to sell that one. Not going to keep it. Yeah, I don't know why you couldn't give us something higher than this. They did real help. Really help. Because the stats on the accessories would be higher, damage on the weapons would be higher, the water combatant on the shields would be higher, and fortunately not the recharge rate because they screwed up with that. With the recharge rates the same. Same with the special effects on the shield. That doesn't scale with the shield chaos tier. Yeah, oversight for Gearbox. What do you think? Wanted to get this game out as fast as possible. Didn't consider the consequences of that. That definitely can be said of the DLC, because DLC, see, if that was one DLC, it would be so much better, but whatever. I don't care about SHAREfactory. That's double that thing. Unless that's like Call It, I don't even care about that. I'm trying to sell these as fast as I can, much as the PS4 can handle it. That's a spell shot with the protagonist is not going to be particularly useful. So, sell that one. Not even going to buy it back. I don't really use the precious gemstone. On next thing, see if you sold this ring effectiveness is increased by 66% for 8 seconds, and no. You don't really want anything to save your soul, so I don't consider that thing to be worth it. Sometimes it cannot be helped with glass cannons, which obviously they're not going to take much damage, so it'd be useful for those ones. Not for this one, because we rarely ever enter Save Your Soul with this build. With the Brr-Reaver in general. Double magazine times would be nice, especially for Torg weapons. Also to last extent the varial weapons. That I'm gonna keep that one because that's real nice. It's a primordial. We don't. Sometimes bar load spawns with no elemental damage modifier. Real annoying. Protagonist not so much for the Stabbomancer, because Stabbomancer doesn't really have anything that is boosted by ability damage. I wish that was the case for Ghost Blade, but it is not. It doesn't even mention it on the description. It's sure because most action skills benefit from ability damage. Fortunately about the way the game is, damaging action skills for the most part are useful for that purpose, and mainly used for trigger enchantments. I suppose Gearbox could have done with patches, but they didn't really do that. With the build, the action skills and other skills, they don't. You don't get health. That would have been real nice if it had chaos scaling, but it doesn't. That's a fear not. It is not what I wanted. It is. Oh, whatever.